projectiles. What mix-in are we going to write? Is spawner. All right. So let's do that. New behavior script? No, let's not do that. What does it mean for something to be a spawner? You tell me, generally speaking. Using this pattern, what does it mean for something to be a spawner? This spawns things at a certain rate. I'm going to give it a rate. I don't know. We'll see. What's it going to spawn? OBJ. I don't care what it is. Fireball, enemy, item, don't care. If this is a mix-in, if we're using the same pattern, what aspect to the spawnable object's behavior does this class need to provide? We're going to need an interface and an implementation for one function. What one function does isSpawner implement? Spawn. This is pretty standard, right? Instantiate, obj, fix, add a place, yeah.
Can we overwrite the model behavior to mix in?
Very good. We're gonna need that. Yeah. We're gonna need a spawner. In the specific case of our enchanted weapon, what are we going to spawn? A fireball or a lightning bolt or something, some kind of projectile, right?
Yep.
So that game object is going to be using the same pattern that we use to describe if something is the player or an enemy. We're going to say that that is a projectile. So we're going to need an is projectile. Agreed? Okay. What would a simple projectile look like? Let's say it's a fireball. Let's make a little, just to stub this in here. We'll call this fireball obj. And we're going to say that this is a projectile. And we'll make a prefab out of that, because I think we're going to need it in the future when we give out the assignment. Okay. I think we have all the pieces. We've got our spawner, we've got our spawnable, we've got our item, we can equip it. I like it. Any questions about the set of mix-ins we've developed so far? What do you think of this pattern? Getting the hang of it? Yeah. Maybe? Yeah. All right. Lights. Yeah, I'm just going to describe the assignment.
Oh, okay.
So, assignment 1. Groups of 1 or 2. I heard that.
What?
What? Sorry.
What? Who said what?
Groups of 1 or 2. You're going to, we're going to call this the interactive object. Assignment. And add the following to our case study. I will put this in a PDF or a doc and I'll upload it, but we're negotiating here.
We're discussing.
We're communicating here to our case study. Once we converge on a solution, on an agreed upon thing, we're gonna put this in stone. All right.
to call this very specifically the magic sword assignment. So, add a magic sword to the game. Okay? We're going to talk about a user story here. When it's touched by the hero, it is picked up and equipped. Okay? It is a one-handed item. It is not a two-handed item. Okay? Or it goes in the first open hand slot. That is empty. He picks it up into the first open hand slot. That is empty.
But then the left hand is the shield, no?
Is this okay?
Yeah.
It's got two open hands to start. When he picks it up, it goes in the first open hand.
It's always gonna be. Wouldn't that always be the left though?
No, not
Are
necessarily.
we okay with this point so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Bear with me.
It's a simple.
Hero will animate the slice anim onto the hand with the sword. Okay? I don't care if how that is accomplished, but we certainly have ways of mirroring animations, so you should animate correctly, no matter if it's in the left hand or the right hand. Okay? Sword can be enchanted. How can you enchant a sword? You're going to put it into a trigger volume or something, right? Call it like a temple or some kind of a slab in the game. If I put that item on there, it becomes enchanted. Enchanted swords behave like swords, but they also shoot fireballs at a certain rate.
Wait, is that, can they hold it or is it just click and then choose one?
If I play the animation, I'm going to hold it up and it's going to shoot some fireballs.
So you can keep holding the mouse? So it's like a gun?
I'm leaving it a little bit unclear or a little bit vague if, when the anim's done, if it needs to loop.
Because you know how like in some games you know how the skills like slash once and they have the projectile coming out?
Right.
Is it like that or is it just like slash and hold it and it keeps projectile keeps
What I want is a different animation, and I want more than one projectile to come out. And I want the number of projectiles to come out to be deterministic. Okay?
So projectile needs to come out out of these.
Out of the enchanted item. Okay?
So, sir, say that last part again. So, part 7.
If the sword is enchanted, it plays a different animation, and projectiles come out of it.
So you pick up the sword,
then
it's a normal sword, but once it becomes enchanted, when you
Does that
press,
mean that you can
when
hold
you
the
press the
mouse
attack
and then
button,
keep
it
shooting
shoots
or?
fireballs.
I haven't specified that yet, but I want to see more than one projectile coming out when you use the enchanted sword,
So
when
like
you
one-
invoke your action. Okay?
So do we have any point where SWAT can
I'm sorry?
after certain points it will be enchanted or
It could be when you put it, you could create an enchanted table, like a slab, some kind of a trigger volume, some place where you place it there, it becomes enchanted. There should be some way during gameplay where it becomes enchanted. So you can call it a temple, it could be like a box on the ground. You put it there, that's the magic place where this happens. You bless the sword, it becomes an enchanted sword. Okay? When the sword is dropped, the hero uses normal animation set again.
else that we need to talk about?
Uses normal thing and doesn't spawn a fireball.
If you use the normal sword, it does not. But it plays a different animation than if it is enchanted. Okay? When you drop it, normal anim again. How are you gonna make the character drop the sword? I don't really care. It can be, you know,
As long as it's on the
if you click on him, he can drop it, or when he touches, you know, a certain spot on the ground that you make really obvious, you can drop it. There can be some way that he's gonna receive the message to drop it. We have touch, which is probably a convenient way to make that happen in your demo, right? Because you can walk on to different things, or you can touch certain things.
What if it drops? If it hits you while it's dropping, won't you be equipping it right on?
Good question.
No?
Good question. We need to work through that. But that's the behavior we want to have.
Oh, so instead of on like on
What happens in Diablo when you drop an item and it ends up being really close to you? Do you auto pick it up again?
No,
Why not?
Most games, when you do that, it drops it like in. So it literally throws
Right.
it over there. Yeah.
So you think about that.
or can
There's
you
probably reasons for that, right?
So what
So
we
the touch
need,
will
like,
work.
instead of just like touch it and pick it up, like a button just like equip it.
We still want it to be auto equipped, just like we've been developing, but we want to add the following.
I think he
To
means
the
like
current
when
behavior.
you drop it, can it just be like a button press for like the D key? Well, not
Sure.
the G key.
Sure.
Drop just meh, get out of here.
Sure. D for drop.
Okay. Just throw it out.
Pretty much.
D for drop. We'll
You
even.
can do that,
No,
right?
no, no, no.
D
D,
for drop.
D is our right turn.
Yeah.
WASD
Yeah.
movement. Yeah.
Jeez,
I put it on whatever key you want.
Conformity.
Are we cool with that?
Right click.
yeah.
So we've got dynamically changing stuff. We've got equipping in the correct spot. Oh. You're gonna add another object. You're gonna add a rubber ball. It's a one-handed object.
Huh?
You're gonna add a second item. It's a rubber ball.
Equipable?
It's equipable. It's a one-handed object.
What are we doing for?
When you touch it, you pick it up. It stays in your hand.
Forever.
That's all. Doesn't do anything else.
Um,
You can drop it,
It doesn't affect like your attack
Nope.
motion.
just okay.
but it's in your hand.
Just punch people with a ball.
But it's in your hand, right? Just a spear.
How long?
Who wants 1 week? Show of hands. Who wants 2 weeks?
Yeah, it takes 2 weeks.
2.5.
This guy said 2.5.
Shut
You
up.
know-
Just,
our exam
just
is-
say 2 and just
Isn't
be
it?
quiet.
Our exam is in 3, so
Oh, shit.
or exam week is in
I'll
3,
be
right?
ballsy. I'll say 1 week.
Oh,
I'm gonna be that guy.
If you've been following,
Yeah,
Say
today's
1 week.
if you've been following,
today's today.
No, I'm
there's not a lot of work here.
You should take like a day.
It should take.
That's why I'm being
Sir,
1
I
week guy.
just know for a
Yeah, no,
fact
1 week's good.
for myself
1
that
week's
something's gonna go
that's actually
horribly
pretty
wrong.
good. Not a-
Yeah, but you forget.
If you've been following.
I agree
It's gonna
with you.
implode.
I agree with you.
Not before.
I
guys.
can
I'm
predict
already
somebody.
having